Hey, hi everyone, I am Karan. Welcome to my channel Knowledge Booster. In the last lecture, we have seen what is a class, what is an object, and now the basic concept says that students are moving from C to C++. So today in this lecture, we'll be seeing the differences why one should start opting from C to C++. So if we read the first concept, which is an object-oriented approach. In C, we haven't seen this approach where we will be defining data with the concept of objects. So there we were just creating the main function, we'll just running the program. But here we have also seen like this. If I create a class, bank class. From there, I am person P1, one object, second person P2, second object. All do have different types of data and they can store their data differently and can access their data differently. That is why this comes into picture, so that we'll define our whole problem in the form of classes. Then we can create objects, and object can hold the letter data. So the next point said that modularity. Modularity means that dividing the whole problem into small modules. In C, we were doing it via functions. Example, I have a task where I have to read a file, I have to copy a file, I have to print a file. There in C, we were creating three functions like for reading, for writing, for copying, and here we will be creating it to three parts. Why there is a need of transition from function to class? Because it holds the property of object-oriented programming. Next concept said that safety of data via access specifier. We have seen and see that we do have structure which is like a binded form of class. But the basic disadvantage of structure is that by default the type of class variable, which are data member, we have seen class have two types, data member and data function. These are the components of a class. Same we have components in structure, but by default all the members of the structure are public in nature. But in class, all the members of the class are like data member or member function. If you do not define any access specifier, all would be considered as private in nature. So it's in the hand of programmer via using class. Either you want to make things public, either you want to make the things private, based on the complexity, based on the type of access he want to provide to the user. So this is how in C++ user have this feature to provide safety of the data. The next concept says that reusability. In programming, as soon as you people will start moving in companies, it's always said that try to use the code rather than rewriting it. And C++ has proven it. Why? Example, I have written a class A, and from class A, some other person comes up and he needs some data. So rather than rewriting it, he will be reusing the same code, which will bring the concept of reusability. And we will be seeing in the further videos how C++ bring reusability of code via the concept of inheritance. So next property says that overloading operator. What does it mean? It states that, example, I have to add two integers. I will be just writing 2 plus 3. To float, I will be writing 2.5 plus 3.5. But for example, I have to add two complex objects, type of A plus iota B. So I cannot write directly A plus iota B plus C plus iota D. If I am trying to do it, it will give me an error. But what does operator overloading comes here? It says that we will be providing some extra ability to the built-in operator so that we can reuse these operators via class, via object. So these are just the objects of type complex, and we will be providing extra facility to this built-in operator, like a plus in this case. Next concept is called exception handling. We are never sure that whether our code will be working on all the cases or not on the cases. Let's take a very basic example. If I take the example of divide, example I would say two numbers. First number is A, second is B. I will say A by B. True. If I give A as 10 and B as 5, my answer will be 2. But what if by mistake I will say A is 0, yeah, A is 2 and B is 0. And if I would say A by B, I cannot divide 2 by 0, because in mathematics we do know that how to do this, how to solve it. But in the form of computer, when ALU, arithmetical logical unit, which is responsible for solving these problems, when it will try to solve 2 by 0, it will raise an exception that I cannot divide a number by 0. So in order to handle these type of problems in a program which we are not sure that it may raise error in future, so C++ provided the concept which is called as exception handling. So whichever code we think that it can break in future, or there may be some edge cases which we also have to cover, so that particular code will be right in the form of exception handling only. So the last concept says that passing default argument to function. For example, you create function in C to add two numbers. You'll mention first number A, second number is B. If you provide the data like this while calling the function, if you will mention 2, 3. This is working because function need two arguments and we are providing two arguments. But what if in C I will providing 2? I'm not providing 3. Compiler will be giving error to me that the second argument is missing. This is same in the case of C++, but C++ also provide the feature of passing default argument. So while defining the function, I will be saying that my first argument will be integer A and my second argument will be integer B and equal to 0. It means that I am providing a default value here, which state that if in future I will call it like 2, 3, value of B is 3. It's not 0 always. But what if I just say 2? I will not provide the second value. By default, it will take the default value of B as 0. So this is how we will be providing the concept of default argument. So what we have gone through till now, we saw that why from C to C++, because it do have feature of class, it have the function of, it has the feature of modularity, it do provide access specifier, and by default difference between structure and class is that by default all the arguments, all the data members in structure are public, but in the case of C++ all are private. Then we have read how we can reuse reusability, so that we can reuse the same thing, and how we will be achieving in C++ by the concept of inheritance. Next we have seen that operator overloading, via we'll be providing extra feature to built-in operator so that it can use with objects also. Then we have seen how to use exception handling, and then we'll see what is the important use of passing default argument. So these were all the concepts that one student should try from C to C++. If you like my video, just please do like this video. If you found it knowledgeful, please do like and subscribe my channel.